When you first open DaVinci Resolve, you're going to be greeted by this window, the Project Manager. And if you're brand new to Resolve, you might be a little scared, a little intimidated by this window because you're not sure what it does and what all this stuff in here means. So if you've ever wondered, where are my projects? Where do they live? How do I back things up? Like what, you got questions about the Project Manager? This video is for you. But hey, my name's Jason and I make videos here on YouTube to help you be able to edit faster in DaVinci Resolve, help you sound better, because I'm an audio guy, and help you create videos that you're proud of. And today we're gonna be taking a look at the Project Manager. We're gonna go over the whole thing, tell you what it does, what you can do, your different settings and options and things like that. So that way you're comfortable getting started in DaVinci Resolve. And even if you've been around Resolve for a little while, you probably still wanna watch because you might learn a thing or two. So let's just go jump into Resolve, take a look at the Project Manager. So in DaVinci Resolve here, this is the Project Manager, and this is the first window that you're gonna see when you open up DaVinci Resolve. So this is gonna be where all of your projects live, where you can jump between projects, you can open one project, multiple projects at a time, a lot of different things we can do right from the Project Manager. But first, I think we need to just kind of take a look at the window, and I wanna explain what we're looking at here. So starting at the top here, we've got local, network, and cloud. Now, local is gonna be where this project library is stored on your local hard drive. Network is gonna be if you have a network drive set up. Cloud is going to be if you are using Blackmagic's cloud, you would put in your email address and your password and you can log in right here. I'll show you a little more what the cloud library looks like a little later on, but for now I'm going to stick with the local option here, which is where your database is generally going to live on your local hard drive somewhere. Now below that we see the word projects, and this is where all of our project files are. If you click on this little icon right here, the show hide project libraries, you can see I've got several different libraries here. My main one is just this one right here, local database, but I created a new one for this particular video just so you can see what you would actually see once you logged into DaVinci Resolve for the first time. So you would have one untitled project over here. There's nothing in it. It's just a blank project. It's untitled. And that's what you're going to see when you initially get started in DaVinci Resolve. So you may see these project libraries or you may not, depending if this icon is clicked on or off. So I'm going to leave it clicked on so we can cover what's going on over here in just a minute. Right in this area here is where your projects are going to live. Right now, we just have one untitled project. We have the ability to add folders in here. So if I wanted to add a folder, I could call it YouTube. And now we have a folder that's inside of our library here. The next option we have here is to copy a project to. If you need to copy it from, say, one library to another, you can do that. We can zoom in and out on our viewer here just to make it a little bit clearer to see, because the view that we're in right now, you'll actually be able to see your project right here in the Project Manager window, and I'll show you that in a second. We have the ability to change the sort order by name, date, timelines, format, frame rate. We can see a little bit more information about the projects by clicking on this eye. And by default, your view should look like this with like thumbnail views, but you can also change it to a list kind of view. And this is the way that I look at it most of the time, is using the list view. If you know you want to search for a certain project, maybe it's got a particular title, you can click here and search for it. You can also filter them by name, format, and notes. So I'm going to close my search window, change it back to the thumbnail look right here. And now let's take a look at this section over here, project libraries. Now, most of the time you only need one project library, and I'm going to show you my project library in a second here. I have like literally hundreds of projects in my one project library, and the projects are relatively small in size, so they don't take up a whole ton of space on your hard drive. So you should have one library created already that you created when you first started up Resolve. And let's just take a look at this section here. So you can ignore all my other things I have here. Let's just focus on this new user library. So we have an option to sort our project libraries up here if you've got a couple of them like I do. You can restore project libraries if you've backed them up, and I would recommend backing them up. I'm going to show you how to do that in a second, because you can back up all of your projects all at once if they're in that same project library. So if you need to restore it for any reason, like maybe, I don't know, something crashed and you need to restore your project library, you can just click on restore. You would go find your project library and then you can just load that back up and it'll have all of your projects in it. And you can also search if you need to search or filter for a particular library. Now for each one of your libraries here, you're going to see a little eye next to it and it gives you more details. So if you go ahead and click on that, it's going to bring up this right here. It'll tell you where the library is saved. It'll tell you if it's compatible with this version of Resolve or not, because if you have older project libraries, they're not always necessarily compatible. Sometimes you have to upgrade them, but you'll be prompted to upgrade them if you need to. And then right down here, we have backup. Now this is super important. I recommend that you back up your project library here, like, I don't know, once a month or at least before every major update in Resolve. And to do that, you just click backup, go select your location on your hard drive, name it whatever you want, go ahead and hit save, and then boom, you're gonna be good to go. That project library and all of the projects in it are gonna be backed up. Now, it's important to note that it's not gonna back up all of your media files. This is just the DaVinci Resolve project file that tells the project how to use your media, how to make your timelines, your color grades, all that kind of stuff, how you've edited everything together. It does not include all of your media and all that kind of stuff. So your media and everything can live wherever you want, but when it comes to your project library here, it's recommended that you keep that on your internal hard drive. And keep in mind that it's not going to take up a lot of space. I have hundreds of projects on mine, and I'll show you that in a minute here, and it doesn't take up that much space. And even when I back it up, it's only maybe like, I don't know, a gig or something like that for literally hundreds of projects. So I'll show you that in a second. Now, if you wanted to duplicate the library here, you can do that. And you can also reveal in Finder. That's going to show you exactly where that is. And if you want to remove the whole library, you can click remove right down here. So I'm going to click this little icon. I'm going to go back over here. And just finishing out the window here, we have add project library. If you wanted to add in a new project library, we can export projects, we can import projects, we can create a new project, and we can close this window. Now, when you're in DaVinci Resolve and you've got Resolve open, you can open this project manager window at any time by going to either the file menu and down to project manager, or if you're in Resolve, you'll see this little house icon at the bottom here. You can always click on that and that will open up the project manager for you. Now here's a little tip that might be confusing. It got me for a little while. Let's say I've got a couple folders created and I'm inside a folder and I have a project in here and I don't know, how do I get back to my top level folder? Well, it's really easy and I just never thought to do this, but if you come up to the little breadcrumb trail up here and you just click back up a folder or whatever, folder level you want to go to, it'll bring you back there. Super easy, but I know for me, for a long time, I was using Resolve and I'm like, I'm stuck in a folder. How do I get out of here? So you can just click on the little breadcrumb trail up there and that'll bring you back up a level. Now let me just jump into my own project library here so you can see what a full project library looks like. In order to change libraries, all I have to do is just click on the one I want. It's gonna load it up right here. And here we go, we have all of my projects in here. Now just so you can see how many I've got, I'm gonna give it the list view and I'm gonna scroll down here, scroll down. So I have videos in here from 2019 all the way up until now. So I've got years worth of YouTube videos in here and I have no problem running this project library and DaVinci Resolve with all these things in here. It works out great because everything's in one spot. I don't have to jump around to different libraries and look for stuff. It's all in one library. So it works out really well. Now this is the list view. I can go back and create or choose the thumbnail view here. And this is what I was talking about, where if you scrub over top of the little thumbnails, you can see what's going on in your project. So if you're not really sure exactly what you need or what you're looking for, you can kind of scroll through and get a little preview of what's going on in your projects if you want to. Now, most of the time I don't look at it in this view. I use the list view because it's a little easier for me to find stuff. But also, I don't know that I want all that information there. So I'm going to click this little eye and get rid of all that stuff. And now I'll just see the project name. So if we were to come to any one of the projects in our library and we were to right click on it, we're going to get a whole bunch of different options. We've got open and read only. We can rename the project right here if we need to. We can import a project. We can export a project. We can import a project. Well, there we go, with stills and LUTs. We can restore a project archive. And I'm going to explain what some of these things mean in a second here. We can export the project archive. We can delete it, cut, copy, load project settings to current project backups if we want to grab a backup for that particular project, dynamic project switching, refresh, and remote rendering. So let's talk about what a couple of these things are here. So import and export project. Now, if we wanted to export a project, we can choose export project. And let's say I wanted to export this project from the recent video I did about my trip to NAB in New York City. Well, it'll bring up this window. You choose where you want to save that project, and it's going to export a DRP file. So this is just the DaVinci Resolve file, right? It's not all your media and everything that goes into your project as far as media is concerned. It's just the project file. So if I were to give this to you, and you were to load it up, you would see that the media of the timeline and my cuts and all that stuff, it's all there, but you don't have the actual media, right? I'd have to give you the media too, and then you would have to relink it up. So exporting a DRP is going to export just the DaVinci Resolve project file. So maybe you and your friend have the same footage. You could just send the DaVinci Resolve project file, send that over to them. They can load it up, relink the footage, and then boom, they're good to go. So sometimes that comes in handy. And for those of you that want to keep a copy of the project in your folder structure, like on your hard drive, because I know a lot of people coming from Premiere and other projects, they're like, I want to keep my project in my file on my hard drive. Like I don't want it in a database, right? Or in a project library. I don't want to do that. But so you can do that. You can export out a copy of the project, put it in with your, your folder there, and it can live there, and that's perfectly fine. So Resolve does work a little different with where it keeps your projects, right? It keeps it all in this project library for just the project files, but you can export them out if you need to. So if I were to export this out, I'm going to just hit save, and that's it. It exported out the project. Now, if I were to right click in a space that's not on one of these thumbnails, I can right click, and I can say import project. Now, when I import the project, it's just going to import the DaVinci Resolve project. It's not going to bring any media or anything like that with it. So that's important to know. So I can just click on that and load it back up, and then I'll have that project and I can start working with it. Now, what if you want to export your project, but you do want to include all of the media, all of the assets, everything that you've got, you want it all in one nice package so that you can pass it off to somebody else. Here's how you do that. So you're going to come to your project thumbnail or in the list view, you're going to right click on it, and you're going to come down to Export Project Archive. Now this is going to allow you to take the DaVinci Resolve file, all of your media files, your video files, images, anything that you've used as an asset and put it in your project. It's going to take all of that and bundle it all up in probably a pretty big file, but bundle it all up, and then you can either give that to somebody else, you can use it as an archive, just to save it as a spot in time for your project. You can do whatever you want with it. So if I go Export Project Archive, now we're going to get a DRA file. So a DRA file is a file that's going to have everything together. And when we go to reload that, we can just say, hey, reload our DRA file there, and it's going to unpack it. It's going to import the DaVinci Resolve project. It's going to relink all of our media. It's going to have everything in one spot that we need. So I'm going to go ahead and say save. We're going to save that DRA. Now, when you do go to export that DRA, you're going to have a few options. Do you want to include your media files? Do you want to include your cache files? And do you want to include any proxy media? So I'm just going to say media files for now and click OK. You can see it's copying everything and it's packaging it all up. So it's not taking your original files and moving them. It's just creating a copy of everything and putting it all together. So now if I were to come to my hard drive where I saved that DRA file, you can see here we've got the DRP, right, which is just the DaVinci Resolve project. It's a small little file, 457 kilobytes there, versus if I click on the DRA file, you're going to see it's got a folder structure under it. So it has the actual project file, and then it has all of the media files, and it's in the same setup and same type of directory as my original files, right? So what would happen is if I go to load this file back up in Resolve, it's going to bring everything with it, all the media, everything, and rebuild that project. Boom, there we go. We're going to be off and running. So if I come back to DaVinci Resolve, in the project manager here, I can right click and come down to Restore Project Archive. And this is going to restore everything in that project archive that we just created. So all I'd have to do is select the top level file there, the DRA, hit open. Oh, and because I already have a project name this, it's going to say copy of. Okay. It's going to import the project, all of the media, everything. It's going to just put the project back together exactly as I exported it. And there we go. Now the project is fully restored. Taking a look at some of the other items in that right click menu, if we were to right click on any one of the thumbnails, another one that's pretty important here is project backups. Now, if you have project backups turned on, which is in settings once you actually open Resolve, you would be able to come here and click on project backups. And when you do that, it's going to give you a list of all of the backups that are available that you could reload. And if you wanted to load any of these, it's not going to overwrite your actual project. Let's say, for example, I want this one. I could just hit load. And then it's going to ask you to enter the project name because it's not going to overwrite your original project. It's just going to add in another backup copy of your project that you can open and work with. So it'll automatically save incremental backups for you. And if you ever need to go back and check something out or whatever, you can just load it right up here in the project manager. So I'm just going to cancel this because I don't want to load up another one. But if you did, you would just hit OK. It would load it up. Then you can jump in that project and get going. Now, if I were to right click on the thumbnail again and come down to dynamic project switching, if you check this on, and then I right click and now we see dynamic project switching is open, that is going to allow us to open more than one project at a time in DaVinci Resolve. So I'm going to show you how that works in a second. And if you have multiple projects open, you can close projects in memory, and then you can always refresh and do remote rendering if you need to. But if you're just getting started, you don't even have to worry about those. So those are the basic things I think you need to know about when it comes to your projects here, your project manager, and these items here in the right-click menu. So let's create a new project here, and I'm going to do it in my current project library just so that I've got extra projects I can open up and show you how that dynamic project switching works. And a quick mention, if you did want to import or export a project, you can also use these two buttons down here, and that'll allow you to do that as well. So let's go ahead and create a new project. I'm going to click New Project at the bottom. And when I click on that, you'll get this window right here. You want to go ahead and give it a name, and then you want to select your media location. So if you're creating media, you're saving files, maybe you're rendering things or whatever, you need to select a media location. And this is a nice new addition here in DaVinci Resolve 20. So I'm going to go ahead and click Change Location. And you need to do this for every project. And if you forget to do it, that's okay. You can always change it later. I'll show you how to do that real quick. But for now, I'm selecting my DaVinci Resolve 20 Project Manager. I'm going to go ahead and click Open. And once you've done that, all you have to do is click Create. And now you're inside of Resolve. Now, if you forgot to select that location, you can always come up to the File menu, come down to Project Settings. In Project Settings here, select the Master Settings. Scroll down, and under Working Folders, Project Media Location, you can always click Browse and change it and select the proper location for you. So we're good to go with this project. I'm going to go ahead and hit Cancel. Now let me show you how the dynamic project switching works. So in order to open the project manager back up, I'm going to come to the little house icon down here. And let's say I want to open more than one project at a time. So maybe I can copy things back and forth or whatever it might be. So I'm going to right click in space here in between the projects, make sure my dynamic project switching is turned on. And then I'm going to go ahead and let's open up, save time in DaVinci Resolve. Let's open this one up. I'm going to double click it. While that opens, I'm going to have a sip of coffee because who doesn't love some coffee? Got to have coffee while you're editing, right? So now our project is open. We see the new project that we just opened. I'm in the Cut tab here. But if you wanted to change in between your two projects and switch back and forth, you want to come up to the title right up here. You'll see a little drop down. You click on that, and now you can change back and forth between your two projects. And you can copy and paste back and forth. We can change tabs here. So if I go to the Edit tab down here, same thing. Click the drop down, go back and forth. Here's our new project. We can do it right here in Fusion. In the Color tab, you'll see we always have the name up top here, so we can always change. Jumping over to Fairlight, same thing. And even in the media page, we can see it right here. Now, if you decide I don't want all these projects open because sometimes it's going to bog down Resolve, it's going to make it a little bit slower, at least it does for me sometimes. So you can actually turn that off if you want. So in that case, you could just go to the project that you want to keep active. So I'm going to come back to the Edit tab. Let's say I want my Project Manager video active because that's what I'm working on. All I have to do is come back to my Project Manager, click on the little house icon, bring this up. I'm going to right click in some empty space here, and I'm going to uncheck Dynamic Project Switching. And then it's going to automatically close all of the projects that are not currently active and that we're looking at inside of DaVinci Resolve. So if I were to then close this, you can see we don't have a drop down anymore. We're only have this one project open. That's it. And now we don't have to worry about having multiple projects open. But it's really handy to be able to jump back and forth between projects if you share similar assets and things like that. Now, really quick, I just want to show you the cloud library because I do have a cloud library set up. I don't use the network one at all, but if I come to the cloud section here in my project manager, I'm going to go ahead and put in my email address and password. Please hold for that information. So I hit login, and now it's connecting to the project library that lives on the Blackmagic cloud. So I used the Blackmagic cloud when I collaborated with a friend of mine that lives out on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast here by New York, and we were able to create my DaVinci Resolve crash course Audio Essentials for Video Editors in DaVinci Resolve. Teaches you everything you need to know about audio and how to make your videos sound awesome. So I'll link that below. You can check that out. But anyway, we worked on it together and we created a Blackmagic cloud database where we could each have our own copy of the media files, and it would automatically actually upload media files for us to transfer them back and forth. And it's the same project file. And we could even get in there and work on it at the same time together if we wanted to. But if I were to just come in this folder right here, Jason, you can see these are some of the files that we had used to create the project, create the course and everything. But it's same window right here. We do have a few extra things in here, like we can go to Blackmagic Cloud online. It'll take you through the web to get there. You can resync projects up or refresh projects right here. Up in the top right here, we do have a little drop down that allows you to log out if you wanted to log out. When we're looking at the cloud project libraries here, you can see if it's shared. We can also show details and see who might have access to the project library and who might be working on it together with us. Now, I'll only be able to back up and restore the library if I'm the one that created it, right? So I didn't create it, somebody else did. So that's why I'm not able to back anything up or anything like that. But the Blackmagic Cloud Library is really handy if you're working with somebody in a different location, you need to share project files, or actually it's one project file, you can both work on it. If you need to share media, it'll sync things up for you. It's a really great tool if you need it and you're not all in one location to work together. And to get back to my local library, I'm just gonna hit local at the top. And now we're back in my local project library. There you have it, the project manager. I hope this was helpful for you to just understand how it works, how we work with our projects. We can import, export, all the different things we talked about, just to kind of clear things up and make this a little less intimidating, because Resolve as a whole is a little intimidating. I gotta be honest, there's still things I'm intimidated by. Like Fusion, I mean, I like it, but it's a little scary still. And I've been in Resolve forever here. So I hope this was helpful in just showing you how to work with your projects. If you have any questions, be sure to leave a comment down below. If you want to know more about how to create the backups and things like that, that's another video that we can get into, and I can make stuff and talk about that a little bit. And if you want to learn how to make your audio sound awesome, maybe you want to check out my course over at dvresolve.com. It's called Audio Essentials for Video Editors in DaVinci Resolve. Teaches you everything you need to know end to end from start to finish. We create a little mini documentary together. You can check that out if you're interested. I'll link that down below as well. So with that said, I'm off to create some more projects for you guys. I love learning new stuff and just figuring out how to say this stuff in an easy to understand way that makes it simple for you guys, especially if you're just getting started. With that said, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.